What's up, guys? Here we go. Let's see if this is all working. Another day for Kilo Loco. Another day that I get to spend on this planet. It's always good stuff. What's going on, Samuel? I see you, man.
What's up, guys?
Gotta mute that audio. There we go. What's going on? Yes, see? Look at it's only, and I'm gonna say only because most people that are probably watching might not even be in California, but it's only about 65 degrees here. But when it's 65 degrees in California, people freak the hell out. We don't know how to handle any cold weather. We're used to 75 degrees and up, pretty much. So you see me with the beanie. But yeah, we're about to get into it. Hope you guys saw the dev vlog yesterday or last night that I put out last night. What's going on, Junaid? Mr. Khan, I should say. Hope you guys like the dev vlog. I don't know, man. I've been working on those dev vlogs, and I kind of like the way that they turned out. You know, I do enjoy watching my own dev vlogs. So I mean, that's kind of like a good sign, right? But then again, I like to hear myself talk, which is why I provide you guys so much content. Apparently, I just like to hear myself talk. So, but yeah, we're gonna be talking about contracting today. First question goes to you guys. Are there any contractors in here right now? Is anybody here contracting right now? Let me know. Let me know in the chat, and we gonna get into it right now. Mike Edwards, hi man, your MVC project video proper helped me out. I thank you. Yeah, no problem, Mike. Sorry about the low quality on that one. I was actually, I loved what I did with that video because I show you how I set up my project, and I think it's a really good way. I mean, obviously, it's my way of doing it, so I'm biased, but yeah, I really like the way that I set it up. The only problem is that when I exported that file through ScreenFlow, it defaulted to 720p, which is why the quality was kind of crappy. Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Khan. Yeah, he said it was super awesome. What's going on, James? All right, so let me know if you guys are contractors in here, and then we could have a little conversation. I want to talk about something specifically that's happened today, or partially yesterday and today, and then I'm gonna talk about like my the way that I plan on moving forward, and some of my thoughts on contracting, the pros and the cons. But what's going on, Matthias? All right, so let's talk about contract. Let's just talk about some of the good things about contracting, right? So some of the good things about contracting is that, one, you essentially get to make your own hours. You work whenever you want. That's pretty cool. I mean, if you have stuff if you're busy that day, you need to go out. Hell, if you want to just take a break and go to the movies while there's nobody out there and go watch some Black Panther, you could go do that, right? So that's the awesome thing about contracting. And it's usually remote work when you're a software developer. Contracting, I mean, you're generally, doing it remotely. You don't usually need to go somewhere because I think the majority of contracts that are out there are probably from smaller companies or from individuals, somebody that's looking to hire, somebody that can't afford to bring on an individual or even a team full time and have them work on a product, right? So that's generally who is going to be hiring contractors. So you usually get to work remotely, and you just kind of check in. You check in, you do. You have your little meetings. You communicate what's being done, what's progressing, and how things are moving forward. And yeah, one of the things that I kind of don't like about contracting is that it's usually a little bit more disconnected. You don't have as much of a say. Like you don't want to be emotionally attached to your contract. You don't want to be emotionally attached to anything that you really work on, honestly, but unless it's like your very own and you're kind of handling it all by yourself. But yeah, you got to stay a little bit emotionally detached from some of these things because you're there to do a job, right? And they don't really care about you, right? They're hiring you for you to accomplish a task that you say that you can do. So that's what really contracting is. Mike says that. I got this. My dad gave me this. Look at this. It's the trackpad. It's the wireless trackpad. I was using this. I love this thing, but I want to use this because there's no zoom on this, right? I could probably program the buttons to do zoom, but I like being able to zoom into my projects when I'm working with storyboards or not Vapor, on storyboards or on Sketch. But yeah, I got to learn how to use this. So going over here, Mike says, I'm full-time employed as an iOS developer, but always tempted to try contracting. So those are some of the benefits. I don't know, Mike, if you have to go into work, if you have to like go into a physical location, but yeah, contracting is usually, done remotely. Ricardo says, hey Kilo, what's up, Ricardo? And then Dari says, Vapor? Nope, not today, man. That will be tomorrow. But I did put out a video on Vapor on Thursday, so check that out. All right, so another benefit to contracting is that, it's usually like a set amount of pay. You get paid, you can usually get paid a little bit more than what you would get paid at a location or like at a business being full-time, right? Because what you're doing is you're saying that you can complete a task within this amount of time and do all these things, but that person is also, kind of paying for you to be a contractor, which means like a contractor has other business that they have to attend to, right? So as a contractor, you have to actually go out and find other contracts, because once this contract is done, you have to go on to the next contract, and you're not just there's no guarantee of the income always coming in on a consistent basis. So I think that's generally why contracting work is a little bit more expensive. It might be a little bit quicker, but it might be a little bit more expensive too. And then also people that generally tend to contract, they can continually increase their rates to a higher level and get paid a lot more because they're in demand, like me. So when I do my contracting, I'm charging $100 per hour on what I think it's on the amount of time that I think it's gonna take to complete a contract. That's my rate. I charge $100 an hour, and there are people that will charge $120, $150, $200 an hour, even more. And it's just you pay like in order to get to that pay level. In order to get to that level where you're charging that amount, you have to be in demand. You're generally not going to be reaching out to people to pay you. You're not going to go say, hey, do you need contracting? Oh, yeah, I do. Oh, well, guess what? I charge this much. No, they're generally coming to you and they want you as a developer, right? So that's generally how it works when you're able to start charging higher. It's because you're in demand, right? You're not just some other developer that's going to just, you're applying for all these different positions. Because I don't spend my time looking for jobs. Like, contracting is a side hustle that I'm doing. It's not my primary income. And, if somebody wants me to work on their project, it's pretty much them saying, I want you to take away time with your family in order to help me achieve my dream, right? So in order for me to take away time from my family, it has to be worth it. I'm already dedicating a lot of time and hours to you guys on YouTube for free, not getting paid anything, right? YouTube won't even let me get the monetization through ads because their shit's all messed up and they just haven't accepted me to the ad program, right? So I'm doing this completely for free. And that takes out a lot of my time. So the remaining amount of time that I have is dedicated to contracting and working on my other projects that I know can get me money. So that kind of brings me into the scenario that I found myself in yesterday. Now, I currently have two contracts right now. I have one that I'm just working on, here and there, and they're paying like they're not in a rush, right? So they pay me whenever they have the time, and there's no like contract or like there's no like written agreement or anything. We kind of just discussed this thing and we came to an agreement. It's like we're working on it as a team, together. I'm providing my suggestions on what I think should happen, and we're trying to build this thing together. And the only thing is that he wants to keep it very secretive because he feels like it's the next big thing, and I think it has potential to be a very big thing too. Once it's fully completed. And then the other contract that I'm working on is a team. It's not a team. I'm working with another contractor that's a designer, and he's working together to put together like like a collective for us to be working. And then it's the person it's the idea guy that came to us and pretty much working on and he's the one that wants it to come out there because he thinks that it's going to be a huge thing. So the position that I found myself in yesterday was that the funding for this other contract actually is not there. There's no funding. Now, so far from my contracting experience, this is my second contract. The other one I'm still working with, and the guy is like a friend. We're just kind of he pays me, and we're not signing any contracts or anything like that, which is it's just like a verbal agreement. We have an understanding. We talk to each other all the time, and it's like if you can work on this and if you have time, and then I'll pay you, and we have it all discussed. And it was and I thought it was going to be kind of like the same thing with this other contract through the collective, but I found myself in this situation where there's no funding, right? And since it was, I guess contracting, like I haven't done like an official contract or whatever it is, but the agreement is generally that you provide all the work, and then you just don't turn in anything until you get paid, but you do all the work up front. So I was fine with doing all the work as long as I was going to get paid, on the agreed upon day, which was in the past. And I felt like there was still more things that I wanted to accomplish, so I was going to actually push it until this Wednesday to ask for payment. But it turns out that now they still want the stuff to be done, right? Which I guess is normal, fine, that's fine. And then I just might not end up being paid on Wednesday, so there's that. And it's a really tough situation that I find myself in, just simply because, as you guys know, I've been saying this in like all my videos, I'm trying to get a house, and I'm kind of relying on this money to get this house. So I thought I was gonna just be like, oh well, we're kind of like just a bunch of guys working together, and we're all kind of working towards the same thing, and when the money comes, it comes. But I was like more relaxed on it. I didn't set milestones, which is a good thing, and I'll talk about that in a bit. I didn't set milestones on when to be paid for these features and things like that. It was just kind of like, finish this entire phase, and then at the end you'll get paid. And I was like fine with that. I was like, okay, well, you need time to come up with the money, that's fine. As long as I have it by this time, we'll be okay. So, it turns out that that was kind of a bad decision on my half, because now I'm supposed to continue to do this work for this week, throughout this weekend, and just hope sometime around Wednesday that I'll be able to get paid. And who knows if I'll be able to get paid. And then on top of that, it takes away the time that I could be allocating to something else to get paid now, because I had said, well, then let me just put production on pause, production on this app on pause until I figure out this money situation, so that I can make sure that I get the house. But it turns out, they want it done, and I just said, fine, you know what? Like, I'm not going to be the person that is the problem in this business relationship. Like, I never want to be the problem in a business relationship. If I say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to come above and beyond if I can. And I just hope that everybody's like that. So I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest, because it's a crappy situation to be in. And if you plan on doing contracting, I would definitely say, set it up in milestones and then have everything kind of written out so that there can be an agreement that you point back to, so that you cover your own behind. Because, like I said, this is not that great of a situation to be in. Depending on this money to close escrow for a house that we're already having trouble trying to get, and then something like this hits you, it's like, man, like everything that can go wrong is just going on. It's like Murphy's Law all up in here, you know? Have you ever taken a contract and found it's been too hard to complete? No, because like I said, this is my second contract, and most people aren't really asking for something ridiculous. And if it's either going to be in a situation where you're like, yeah, there's enough resources out there in the world to figure out how to complete this, or if you feel like that you're not confident that if you're not confident that you can complete it, like you feel like there's just no way that you'd be able to accomplish that, like it's just way outside your range, just turn down the contract. Just say, hey, you know what? I don't think that I'd be able to provide the quality that you're looking for. So I think I'm going to have to turn this down because I don't want to have a bad relationship with you. So just make sure that you say that. If you do find yourself in a situation where something's too hard to complete, I would say do your contracting work in milestones. This way you can get paid for your time. So it's not just time being wasted and not knowing if you're going to get paid or not. Get paid for your time and take it as far as you can. And if you really just hit a roadblock, first of all, reach out to the community. To at least if you're doing it in Swift. If you're doing it in Swift, reach out to the Swift community. Reach out to me. Reach out to any of the other YouTubers. Reach out to people that are on Twitter. Reach out to them and see if you could find an answer. Reach out to Stack Overflow. Make sure you've done everything that you really could in order to try to solve the problem yourself. First, try to solve it yourself. Do all the research that you can yourself first, then ask for help. And then if nobody can really help you, which is a highly unlikely scenario, but if nobody can really help you, then you have to just be upfront to your customer and just say, look, this is as far as I've gotten it, and I just can't do this without this was something that I thought I could accomplish and I just couldn't. But this is as far as I got in it, and provide them with the files, provide them with everything that you did, because you don't want to leave them with a bad taste in their mouth. Like I'm all for, erroring on my side and, taking a hit on my side. If you feel comfortable giving back some of the money, whatever you think is a fair amount to give, if you feel like, they paid you too much and you didn't, give them back some money, maybe like refund 5% or something like that. Here's 5% back. Here's all the files. Maybe you can find a different developer and I'll point you in a direction to a developer that might be able to figure it out or something like that. But there really shouldn't be any reason why you can't figure it out if you're determined to figure it out and if you ask for help. Can I use Vapor to develop real-time database? Yes, you most definitely can. And if you just follow along on my series, whether it's the entire app building process, which I do on Sundays, we're going to be kind of doing something like that. As well as every Thursday, I'm planning on releasing a video on Vapor. So I'm going to get you all that information that you need. But we're working on it. If someone approaches you to offer you contract work, what are the bad signs that tells me I should not take that offer? Okay, well, let me once again reiterate the situation that I'm in, right? So, first of all, James, let me highlight the question that I'm addressing. I don't want to move on to the next one. Okay, first of all, James, I would say definitely make sure that the funding is in place, right? If you're fine with work, because a lot of people are going to sell you on the idea of, oh, this is going to be the next big thing. This is the new Facebook. This is going to change the world. Blah blah blah. We're all gonna get rich. I just need you to do all this free work, and then later in the future we'll be billionaires, right? So I would say if you're gonna take up a contract like that, you better be like emotionally invested in that. Like you better be willing to just not get paid for that, right? So it's a contract. You really have to be like in tune with that idea. You have to love that idea, and you have to be willing to not get paid at all for it. Now, I don't think that's probably the situation in most cases. You're probably not going to care because everybody's going to tell you the same BS all the time. Like I get people reaching out to me on Twitter all the time. Hey, I have this project. I can't pay you right now, but in the future, blah blah blah. You know, like I can't do that. I don't have time for that. So if you have time for it and you're willing to do that, then yeah, you can do it. But that would be a red flag for me. Like if the money's not secure. My misunderstanding was that the money was essentially secure, and as soon as I was ready to invoice, it was already going to be there. That was my understanding, but I misunderstood. So that could be a red flag. Another thing is, are they willing to pay you up front? Like let's say that having money is a must, right? The next thing would be to say, okay, well, I have initial deposit that you need to put down in order for me to actually start working. So they need to pay that. If they don't pay that, that's a red flag. Next, they need to agree to the terms that you should probably set up, which I'm going to start doing from now on because I will never find myself in this situation again. I promise that to myself. Come up with some terms. Make sure that it's in writing and that everybody's on the same page. And if they don't agree to the way that you plan on charging or working, then that's a red flag because your work style doesn't match their work style. So that's another thing because you guys need to be on the same page or else you're just going to end up in a bad situation where you're working for somebody that you don't want to work for and then you're not passionate about what you're doing at all. And then it's just going to be like, I mean, why did you really leave your 9-to-5 job to become a developer if that's the situation that you're finding yourself in again, So that's another red flag. Also, the individual needs to be very... they need to communicate and speak the same language that you do. So if you're working with some foreigner, I don't know where you're from, James, but if you're working with a foreigner and they can't speak whatever language that you like to do business in, and there's a lot of miscommunication, that's a red flag because what's going to happen is there's going to be so much miscommunication that things are just not going to happen the way that they envision it and the way that you implement it. So just make sure that because communication is the biggest thing. If you can communicate and everything is clear, then you probably have very few problems. If you can't communicate, if there's constant misunderstandings even from the start, that's going to be a terrible relationship to be in, and you definitely don't want to find yourself in that situation. All right, Leave says, hi, I like your videos. Thank you. Just an off-topic question here. Can you teach about low latency timers regarding audio sampler, like an audio sampler / player to make a metronome type? Leave, I don't. Just off topic. Okay, can you low latency timers regarding audio? Low latency timers. I don't fully understand that question. I could probably do it if you want. What I would say, the best way to do this is because I'll forget if you do it right here. What I like to do is, if you have a suggestion for a video for me to cover, try to explain it. If you could explain it a little bit better, but actually put it in the comments instead of the chat. If you could put it in the comments of this video, or maybe on my page, what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll actually make a Trello card for that to be covered, and I'll add it to the things that I need to do in the future, tutorials that I need to cover in the future. But something like that probably isn't going to come anytime soon until I figure out this whole housing situation and really ramp up the amount of content that I'm putting out. But yes, I can probably do that for you. What's going on, Lily? Mike Edwards. So I have a similar thing, Kilo, on an app I built for iOS and Android. Check your change. I have a verbal agreement of a small upfront payment and a 40% revenue share. Okay. Yeah. So so upfront and then 40%. Yeah. So I mean, if that's what you're interested in, because what you could do, I mean, you never know with these apps, right? You never know what's gonna hit. You never know what's gonna land. And if you land one of these big things, that, I mean, chances are it's not going to turn into Facebook, right? But it could turn into something that's fairly big, like something that's fairly big, that's used by thousands of users, right? It doesn't have to be the next Facebook. It could be something big that's still very profitable. And then if you're getting 40% of that revenue, I mean, that's cha-ching, baby, cha-ching, right? So that's really good. Matthias, really hope you get the house. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I know that I've been bringing it up a whole lot, but I mean, it's seriously, it's all that I think about, honestly. Besides work. So it's work and the house. That's all I think about. Dari, thanks. No problem, man. Mike, a lot of people ask for apps, but they don't understand the technicalities and expect the world for small prices, like a multi-platform back-end web service sort of app. Do you do multi-platform? So I don't program in Android yet. One of the goals for the end of this year is to actually learn Kotlin so that I can do Android development. I'm also planning on learning React Native so that I could also go that route if I needed to. Just so that I could get stuff on Android until Swift somehow ends up on Android. So yeah, I don't do Android development, but so like the company that I was talking about, right? The company that is that doesn't have funding. They need a backend essentially, and I said that I would do it, but the way that we're gonna have to move forward is, I'm gonna have to change the way that we approach this whole scenario. Instead of just having verbal agreements, I need to put stuff in writing so that we all stay on the same page, because that once again, it helps with the communication so that everybody knows what to expect and when to expect it. But yeah, so I'm capable of doing a full platform, just not on to Android. So I could do the front end and the back end with a mobile app, just not on Android just yet. And if I really needed to, I could probably come out with an Android app, and I could hack it together, and it'd probably crash a lot, but I could definitely do it. So Fabio says, I have a question. Hopefully you can answer it. I'm currently looking for a small business looking for small businesses outside of my family and friends circle, and so far they have created developer accounts themselves. Okay, is this a good practice, or should I submit all those apps under my own developer account? What you want to do, let me see. Looking for small businesses outside of my family, so that so far they have created developer accounts themselves. Yeah, so a real business generally wouldn't want it to be under your name, right? Like, they don't want to be under Fabio Torres in the App Store. They want to be under, they want to be under their own business name, like Nike. Like, if you're working for Nike, you really think you're going to put out a Nike app and it's going to be under Fabio Torres? Like, nah, it's going to be under Nike, right? So, it's kind of like, that's something to be expected. And then on top of that, it's like you're actually limited on all the things. Like, you can only do so much under one account, right? Like, there's only so many provisioning profiles. There's only so many like APNS keys or things like that. So there's limitations to your account, and you don't want all that stuff to be on your own account, because eventually you're going to build up so many clients, you're going to just start running out of stuff. You won't be able to add any more devices that you can test on. You'll just be in a bad situation. So it's actually better that these businesses are coming up with their own developer accounts, because one, it's going to be able to put their name, it'll have like their business name on the App Store, and then two, it's going to allow them, or it's going to allow you to have more free space. If you need those extra keys or extra development slots. Mike says, backend services for people. Would you take on a whole project like that and subcontract the services / Android development? Nah. Not right now. I don't have time to, be delegating and all that stuff. Like, maybe in the future I might do that, but I don't have time for subcontracting. That's to review somebody's code and then just, no, that doesn't even sound good. Probably depends on the business experience. Most of them, their own business is a brand. I asked because most of them can't follow the steps to create a developer account. Yeah, so I mean, what you could do is, okay, so maybe I misunderstood the question, but Fabio, what you could do is, you could continue to make the account and just try not to use any of your limited resources. And then when you come to a point to where the product's almost finished and ready to be like put on the App Store, that's when they have to go through the process of learning how to get a developer account, because that either that or you offer it as a service. So yeah, you have to do one of the two. You either have to have them learn how to do it, or you have to do it for them, but you don't want to generally go through it yourself. Yeah, so I think that's it. I think you guys, we still got like 12 people in here. I don't know if you guys have any other questions for me, or if you guys want to discuss any of your horror stories as contracting. But yeah, this whole entire situation has thrown me off. Like, I was just so heated that I needed to go take a walk. I needed to call my wife, because talking to my wife just calms me down. But I was just not happy. I had to go take a walk, and I had to really rethink the whole entire situation that I'm in and make sure that doesn't happen again. So I'm going to be looking into like coming up with written stuff so that everybody's kind of on the same page, because I think there was a huge miscommunication in this situation, and I didn't protect myself by charging for milestones. If I would have charged for milestones, which I thought, like I said, I thought we were all kind of working towards the same thing. It was all kind of agreed upon. I thought the money was already secured and all this other stuff. Then it would have been fine. But that's not the situation. That's not the reality of the situation. So I just need to fix the way that I approach contracting from here on out. All right, guys. Well, that's probably going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me. It's already been like over half an hour. I got to go back home. I got to go hang out with my baby. And you guys should be getting the entire app building process tomorrow, which is what we usually do on Sundays from now on. And Oh, and make sure that you guys follow me on all these different sites over here. Right there, Kilo Loco, Instagram, and Twitter. And yeah. Alright, guys. Well, I will catch you later. Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining. And your boy is out. Audi 5000. Keep coding passionately. Later.